All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
Doing that thing you do, breaking my heart into a million pieces, like you always do. And you don't mean to be cruel, you never even knew about the heartache I've been going through. Well, I tried to forget you, girl, but it's just so hard to do. Every time you do that thing you do.
And good evening, one and all, and welcome back to the X Zone. I am Rob McConnell, and for the next 2 hours, I'm your host and your guide as together we will cross the time-space continuum to this place that I call the X Zone. It's a place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. It's a place where fact is fiction and fictionality. And the X Zone comes to you Monday through Friday from 10 p.m. Eastern until midnight, right here on the X Zone Broadcast Network, Talkstar Radio Network, Mutual Broadcast Network, and your hometown radio, Classic 1220, CFAJ AM here in St. Catharines, Ontario, just down the street from us here at the X Zone Broadcast Network. And if you'd like to listen to us, the good people at Classic 1220 CFAJ are kind enough to stream us at www.classic1220.ca. My guest this hour, X Zone Nation, is no stranger to darkness. He brings with him a light of faith and courage. Father SHAWN Whittington is a devout man of God, ordained exorcist, and founder of Ghost-B-Gone.biz, a ministry and paranormal investigation service dedicated to battling demonic oppression, spiritual infestations, and helping those tormented by the unseen forces of evil. With decades of experience in spiritual warfare, Father SHAWN has become one of the most trusted names in deliverance ministries, offering to hope those in fear and shield against malevolent forces that dare not face. Join us now as we delve into the hidden world of hauntings, possession, and spiritual battle with our guest, Father SHAWN Whittington. And Father SHAWN, welcome back to the X Zone.
Rob, how are you, brother? It's been a while.
It has been. But man, I would imagine that you and your ministry are really busy these days because of all the evil that seems to be out there. And how do you tolerate it? You're like, what's going on in your opinion?
Well, brother, it's if you ask 100 deliverance ministers on their humble opinion as to what's going on, you'll probably get 100 different answers. But I think we would all agree on the fact that it seems like humankind has gotten away from God. And I'm not trying to, convert anybody or make believers out of the non-believers. I'm just, from what I've seen and heard and felt and experienced firsthand,
Right.
in my humble opinion, I believe it just comes down to that. We've gotten away from, we seem like a very faithless people nowadays.
That is so true. That is so true. And I hope over the next hour, we'll be able to shed some light onto the darkness that is prevailing, not only in Canada, not only in the United States, but around the world. Father SHAWN, can you tell us about your personal journey and how you became involved in deliverance ministry and spiritual warfare?
I love answering that question. You would think I get it asked more often, and I don't. And that's what I love about you. I got drug into this, literally kicking and screaming. I didn't wake up one day and say to myself, I want to be an exorcist, although a day doesn't go by where I probably get at least 2 or 3 or more phone calls from people. Father SHAWN, teach me how to be an exorcist. I want to be an exorcist, because they just recently saw the Pope's Exorcist or another exorcism show or movie, what have you, and they find it romantic and they think it's the route that they want to go. Trust me, I wake up every day and pray that I don't have to assist in or take authority over another exorcism again, because it's a very scary, very ugly situation. And unlike way back in the day when I was just, your run of the mill amateur ghostbuster, ghost hunter, dealing with, disembodied human spirits, Aunt Betty or Uncle Tom just hanging around the house, wanting to keep an eye on things because
Yeah.
they're just not ready to cross over yet. Demonic haunts are very violent, and it's usually a matter of life and death, which what makes it scary, and not only for yourself and people that may be close to you helping you, but definitely the client. It's a very ugly situation. So I just really literally got drug into it, kicking and screaming.
Any regrets?
Actually, no, and I'll tell you why. Because I know it was all, it's all in God's hands.
Yeah.
I really, I know you've probably heard this a million times. People say, "Let go, let God." Literally, that's what I do now. I know it was all a path that was charted out for me before I was even born. So I'm just doing God's work now and hoping that I'm doing a good job. And when He's done with me, I'm sure I'll know.
What inspired you to launch GhostBeGone.biz, Father Sean, and how has the mission evolved over time?
My wife and I formed. We're co-owners of Ghost Be Gone .biz, and we were actually the two of us. She's a near-death experience survivor a few times over. Each one of these experiences, she came back a little more sensitive to spirit. I like to, she will never tell you she's a psychic, but she is extremely sensitive to spirit. I refer to her as my human dowsing rods. And she has a passion for the supernatural and the paranormal. I have been seeing spirits since I was very young, and I became a self made amateur ghostbuster when I was very young, probably around the age of 10. And for many, many years, I want to say maybe 20, 25 years, that was something I didn't share with anybody because, when you're young and you're growing up, you want friends. And you
Mhm.
didn't want your friends to end up thinking you were crazier than they already thought you were. So you kind of kept that, kind of kept it hidden. I regret having done that. That's my one regret. But my wife and I, we were actually set up on a blind date and we didn't know it. And we hit it off, and we both realized we had a lot in common, especially when it came to investigating the paranormal and ghost busting and things of that nature. So we started GhostBeGone.biz, and the rest is, as they say, history. She happens to also be a Stephen minister in the Lutheran faith, so I think that indirectly had a little influence on me eventually getting on the path to deliverance ministry.
How does your faith influence your approach to the paranormal and the investigations and exorcisms that you do, Father Sean?
Well, it's the majority of the people that reach out to me are actually other paranormal investigators. It used to not be that way, but it got to a point where it became so popular
Mhm.
that the industry was just flooded with everybody that had a camera and a little tape recorder and spooky places near them became a ghost hunter, hoping that maybe one day they would appear on Ghost Adventures or another TV show or have one of their own. But they went into this field without any training or nobody on their team that had experience to help walk them through this, learn how to use equipment properly and how to behave at sites and not provoke and have respect for the ghost and respect for the location and know when you're in over your head and not do any religious provocations. And a lot of these people, a lot, end up finding themselves at the wrong place at the wrong time, saying and doing the wrong thing. And the next thing you know, um, at least one person or more than one person on the team has now got an attachment that has followed them home and is turning their life upside down. And they've got a real problem. And so they didn't really have any place to turn to. And so that's basically what my wife and I do now. And we also happen to be, I'm also a member of the Society of St. Benedict, and we work for the United States Old Catholic Church, and we are the paranormal team for the church that a lot of these ghost hunters, busters, and paranormal investigators can come to for help when at a time there was no place that could help them with these types of cases.
It would seem, Father, and I've seen this over the many years doing the show, that those who get into it as a hobby or a way to get excitement or a way to get onto television shows have no idea the danger that they're really playing with. Like, they're playing with fire, and the fire that they really don't want to torch.
Absolutely. And I think that's probably my biggest reward is educating. A lot has changed since you and I last spoke. I eventually graduated the seminary and went on to become an ordained deacon and then an ordained priest.
Well,
And
congratulations.
well, thank you, brother. I know you mean that.
I do.
And most recently, I'm also a fully professed brother in a Benedictine community, and recently I got elevated to the position of abbot for this community. So what has become a labor of love for me is education, and now I'm I haven't actually had, since becoming an ordained priest, I actually haven't had to physically go out and take authority over an exorcism. Not that my phone doesn't ring 24/7. I probably have 300 text messages and private messages and emails waiting for me. Everybody's got the same problem. But what happens is, what God has done is he's made me a better teacher. So now I'm able to actually talk people through their issues and get them to fight back, because I don't have any magic powers. I don't have a magic wand. I can't come in there and just wave it around and make things better.
However, if I'm not mistaken, Father Shawn, you come in with authority, and that is something that the other people do not have. You are given the authority.
You're absolutely right, brother. But if I can get them to attain that, it's very powerful. Everybody that's being targeted by the demonic, they truly are the ones that have the power to draw their line in the sand, circle the wagons, make a stand, and put up a good fight, perhaps even the fight of their life against these things, if they have the power of faith. If they can grasp that and get their faith back, and the power of prayer and all that, having me there too is a big help. But really, once the people, for lack of a better term, buy into that,
right,
and realize that, that's much more powerful.
Father Shawn Whittington is our special guest, X-Zone Nation, and Father and I will be back on the other side of this break. The website for more information about Father Shawn and all the great work he does, www.ghost-b-gone.biz. This is the X-Zone. I'm Rob McConnell, and you're listening to us on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, Talkstar Radio Network, Mutual Broadcast Network, and your hometown radio, Classic 1220, CFAJ AM in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada, streaming classic1220.ca.
Since the day I saw the cat at my door, so I came into you, sweet lady, answering your mystical call. Crystal ball on the table, showing the future, the past. Same cat with them evil eyes, and I knew it was a spell she cast. She's just a devil woman with evil on her mind. Beware the devil woman, she's gonna get you.
Welcome back, everyone. Father Sean Whittington is our special guest. And Father Sean, what is your process when responding to a call about a possible haunting or possession?
Hauntings, this is going to sound weird, but
Well, you're
I,
on the right show for weird.
I kind of welcome just a good old regular old haunt from now and then because the dark stuff gets old after a while. But so many people call me up. I just saw my mom who's passed away
Yeah.
walking through my living room, where I saw my father out in the yard still mowing the lawn, and he's been dead for over a year, or they've moved into a house that's haunted, but the ghost isn't really scaring them other than just occasionally manifesting in front of them, or maybe moving an object or getting up close to them and causing the hairs to go up on their arms or the back of their neck and giving them a little bit of a put them in a cold spot, if you will. I like that. It's very, because my mother, when I was very little, sane spirit, told me they're just people that don't have a body any longer, and if one presents themselves to you,
Hmm.
if you're not so freaked out, you're able to ask them what it is they want. Do so, and hopefully you'll get an answer. And if you can help them with their issue, that's great. If you can't, just be honest with them and tell them you can't help them, that they're dead, and you would really like them to quit bothering you because you're scared.
Right.
And usually they'll help you. I nowadays, if I get one of those,
Hmm.
I kind of it's a breath of fresh air, actually, and I kind of like that. The darker stuff, um, earlier I told you about God giving me the ability to be a better teacher these
Yes.
days,
Yeah.
but I still struggle with a lot of times people will call and the stories they tell me, and I
Mhm.
know they're legit, but the stories they tell me are so horrific. And then when I start peeling the layers away and telling them, praying on it and for discernment on what I should tell them to do, I come up with answers. I give them these answers. They don't want to do any of that. They are in that school of thinking I can just come over and wave my magic wand and make it all better, and they can continue going about their business the way, you know, doing what they've been doing. They don't realize that something they did either knowingly or unknowingly caused themselves to become a target. These things are everywhere. You got to be careful what you say and what you do. And once you're targeted, you're in for quite a fight. So it's a long process, and some people don't want to hang around for it. It all usually starts with I get a message, whether it be a email or a text message or a voice message or what have you, and I'll first have a phone interview. After my phone interview, I send them an intake form. Sometimes I lose them there because the intake form, I require everybody in the household to sit down and fill out this form together. And that can take, a couple hours to do, I would imagine. Usually I lose a lot of them right there. They don't have time to want to sit down and fill out this form. And I know they haven't hit rock bottom. I suspect I'm going to hear from them again in the future, but at that time, they're not ready to take it as serious as they need to take it. Now, if they fill out this form, God bless them. I get the form back. I read it. My wife reads it. My wife and I talk. I'll have another follow up conversation with them. And then we start getting into what they need to do to change things around. Now there was a time where I could just come in there with holy bottles of water blazing, um, and battle. But since actually becoming a member of a jurisdiction in a church, things are a lot different now. I've got to get evidence to present to my archbishop as to what I believe is a legitimate demonic infestation or oppression or possession, and then I have to get permission to go in there and take authority
Hmm.
over an exorcism. But then there's a lot of other things involved nowadays. The whole family has to be in on it. Many people that reach out to me are suffering. They've been clinically diagnosed with a mental illness. They're under the care of a physician and on medications. Now, simply because you are suffering mental illness and seeing a doctor and taking meds doesn't
Right.
mean you can't still get possessed. You can. But what makes it very hard is now
Hmm.
I've got to get that doctor to sign off on everything and agree that that's, in addition to the problems they already have, that's also a spiritual problem, and I need to be in their eyes the next prescription they're going to write. They're going to sign off on the prescription of Father Sean coming in there and performing an exorcism, and then let's see what happens. And that's hard to do. Doctors nowadays do not want to be responsible for that, so it's sad.
Father Sean, how different is a real exorcism compared to the exorcism that people see on television? For example, on The Exorcist, the movie with Linda Blair. How true to life was that film?
Well, let me start by saying I was very young when that movie came out, and my father, mother, my two older sisters, and myself
Mhm.
were those people that waited an hour and a half in line to get into the theater to watch it. And it scared me so bad. I remember coming home and, I'm just a kid. I
Yeah.
had black lights and black light posters up, and I had a couple that looked a little demonic. I tore those down. I dabbled with the Ouija board. I threw that out. And I slept with my parents for, I'm not ashamed to say, here I am in junior high school, and I slept with my parents for about a week. Um, but I personally have never seen, I've seen things move on their own. I haven't seen true levitation. I've seen slight levitation, but not like you see in that movie. I have seen the eyes roll back. I've never seen the solid black eyes, which a lot of my colleagues have seen. And yeah, the vomiting I've
Mhm.
seen, not projectile green pea soup across the room, but many exorcisms, if it's a woman who's possessed, I take women with me to assist. Because let's say, God forbid, during the exorcism, she vomits all over herself, maybe urinates and defecates
Yes.
on herself. You need women to take her to the restroom and clean her up. You don't want men doing that, and vice versa. If it's a man and he goes through that, I want men to also be able to take him into the restroom and help clean him up. So I've seen that. The smells, the
Mhm.
parlor games. I've been in homes where all of a sudden everything at once, every drawer, every cabinet, every window, every door in the house, all at once is opening and slamming. And it can be so loud and deafening that you can't even hear the person next to you speaking. You can't hear them. So, and we refer to that as parlor tricks. So I've seen a lot of that, but a lot of what they showed in The Exorcism, which was frightening.
Mhm.
Um, Trust me, it could. I have no doubt that there are exorcists out there that have seen some of that stuff, but I think a lot of it was blown out of proportion for entertainment aspects.
Father Sean, why does God allow evil to persist? Why doesn't he just eradicate it?
It's the free will.
Uh,
And I'm going to get some hate mail for some of my colleagues, and we discuss this all the time. This, I believe, the demonic, the fallen angels were cast down to here where we're at. Our ultimate goal is to try and stay out of hell
mhm.
and make it to heaven. So heaven's another place, but it's our free will here to try and bring. God is our soul and our heart. We're created in his image, and it's our job as Christians and Catholics to try and bring a little piece of heaven along with us on this journey and pass it along to one another and share it with one another and love one another. And hopefully, eventually, we make it to heaven. Now, a lot of people become targets because they do the exact opposite. They're living the exact type of lifestyle, and they don't even realize they've invited these things in. They play by rules. And if you break that rule and you give these demonic entities the you know the feeling that they've been given permission to attach, they attach in a heartbeat, and they feel that they've been given the permission to attach. I believe, in my humble opinion, now I'm like I said, I know nothing. I'm not an expert, but in my humble opinion, I believe God allows these things to happen for many reasons, and some of the main ones is someone close to the person who's possessed desperately needs to see true evil at work and then desperately needs to see divine intervention deliver that person, or the person themselves. He knows the person that's possessed is going to get through this and survive it. But somebody else, close friend, family member, needs to witness this. Um, but sometimes it's just not that all. It's just can be as random as moving into a place that's really infested, and you happen to be one of those people that believe in nothing, so you don't see anything wrong in. Better make the sign of the cross before I say this. I would rather rule in hell than serve in heaven. Don't say the things like that. Don't throw those words out into the cosmos for just anything that would like to say, okay, fine, hear that and then attach to you, because that's all it takes. So you just got to be. Don't be a pervert. Don't hurt people. Don't do evil to people. And if you don't believe in a higher power of love and light watching over us, that's okay. Like I said, I'm not here to convert you, but 99.9% of the time, people that reach out to me have no faith. Now, here's something that they can't see or explain is trying to kill them or kill someone close to them. And now they start to realize, well, you're reaching out to me. So there must be a little piece in you that believes that there's the opposite of what's terrorizing you and trying to kill you. There has to be an opposite to that. Even if you believe in the yin and the yang, you got to believe
Yeah.
that there's a higher power of love and light, or you wouldn't be reaching out to me. But God's watching over all of it, and ultimately, He's going to use me as a vessel to come through and deliver who is being afflicted.
Father Sean, please stand by. You and I have to take our break at the bottom of the hour. And Dexo Nation, our guest this hour is my good friend, Father Sean Whittington. And if you'd like to find out more about Dr. Sean and his wife and the work that they do and how they can help you, visit www.ghost- or hyphen b- or hyphen gone.biz. And we'll both be back on the other side of this break as we continue here in the X Zone with yours truly, Rob McConnell, and my special guest, Dr. Father Sean Whittington. And you're listening to us on the Talkstar Radio Network, Mutual Broadcast Network, X Zone Broadcast Network, and your hometown radio, Classic 1220 CFAJ, streaming classic1220.ca.
I've had nothing but bad luck. She's got the devil in her heart, for the eyes they tantalize. She's gonna tear your heart apart. Oh, her lips, they really thrill me. I'll take my chances, for romance is so important to me. She'll never hurt me, she won't desert me. She's an angel sent to me. She's got the devil in her heart. No, this I can't believe.
Father Sean Whittington is our special guest. Ghost-b-gone.biz is the website. And Father Sean, with all the homelessness, with all the increase in young people being in such despair, the astronomical amount of drugs that are being taken, is this all part of the devil's plan?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. You can see it's just spreading like a cancer. Not like it wasn't already there and spreading like a cancer.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I'm not going to say it, but in order to get my point across, I'm going to have to say it. I don't believe we're in end times, but I believe we're heading there. And here comes the free will again. We could speed that process up, just as we can speed the process up in the opposite direction. Like I said, it seems like humankind has become more and more faithless and allowed the demonic just to more freely run among us uh, than ever before. And you had earlier mentioned in the show um, how much evil it seems to be in the world right now. And you
Yes.
can just, yeah, you can just see people perpetrating the kind of evils on one another like you've never seen before. And it's just really, really sad. And I'm praying for a big comeback. I think God's going to make a big comeback.
I believe, and this is what I believe, Father Sean, that we started to go wrong when we started taking the scriptures out of the schools, when we stopped saying the Lord's Prayer at the beginning of every school day, when we started giving too much authority to those who did not believe and gave them control. This is where I think we went wrong. And, take a look what's happening in the United States of America.
Yeah.
Look what's happening in Britain. Look what's happening here in Canada with the social unrest, the religious unrest, the immigration unrest. I've never seen anything like this, Father Sean, and I'll tell you, I'm a Christian. I say my prayers every night. I believe. But I'm telling you, something sinister this way is here.
hmm You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. That's why I think it was such an easy transition for me to become a Benedictine, and that's what we do. We 24/7 pray for humankind, and we're constantly saying, following morning, midday, evening, and night prayers from the divine office, and constantly in prayer for it, because that's what it's going to take. And people just need to. Like I said, I know a lot of atheists out there that are some of the best people I've ever met. They got big hearts.
Mhm.
Um, they don't want to hurt nobody. They do a lot of good, and that's what we need. And more, I think those people will see that there's something more out there. Everybody's going to talk to God in the end, regardless of what side of the fence you're on, or who you believe in, or what you don't believe in. Everyone is going to talk to God at the end. And then eternity is a long, long time. So I would advise everybody, take a long look in the mirror
Mhm.
and decide on where you want to spend eternity, because it's much easier to slip up, and then it's too late to regret and change things when it's too late.
Father Sean, do you believe in reincarnation?
You know, here I go again. My colleague, I have friends that are so into that, and
Mhm.
I have friends that don't buy into that at all. Here's where I sit.
Okay.
My wife and I do. Here we go. I'm going to get hate mail for this from some of my colleagues, but here we go. I believe all things are possible with God. If God wants to recycle your soul again for some reason, I do believe free will is going to still exist up in heaven. And he's going to say, listen, you could have done this better, you could have done that better. And I've got some big, if you'd be willing to go back down again, I would, I got some great plans for you on the next go around. I believe that you could tell God, you could, no, I can't really see me saying no to God. I think I would probably go ahead and come back again. Um, but if you're able to say, can I please just, maybe can we have this talk again at another time? I just got here. I'm having a great time. I'd love to be with my family and my friends that I lost during the last journey down there. Can I just hang out for a little while before I do that whole thing again? My wife and we've been told by people that I believe were truly gifted psychic mediums that we both have lived past lives and have known each other in past lives. And a lot of very interesting, odd things have happened to the two of us, especially since we met and got married, that lead us to believe that there's something there with that. So I'm going to say that I'm on the fence. I do believe everything's possible with God, and if I found out that reincarnation and past lives is a very real thing, then I would say, well, there you go. I wouldn't be surprised at all. Then again, if I'm proven wrong that day when I have a talk with God, then I'll have a good laugh over it too and say, well, that was dumb of me to think that, but you know, it is what it is.
And you're only human.
Yeah.
There you go. What are some of the most chilling or dangerous cases that you and your wife and your team have ever encountered?
Well, that's an easy one. It's always tough to be in this field with a loved one. And my wife and I, we started Ghost Begone Biz together.
Mhm.
But she's the survivor of an extreme demonic attack that was supposed to have taken her life. She's not supposed to be here. And she's um, the healthiest person I know before this. Didn't drink, didn't smoke, no history of cancer in her family. And we worked a very ugly case of the oppression and infestation was so intense and so severe to the point that I do believe the young lady that we were trying to help was on the verge of possession. My wife and I didn't really know what we were doing. This is very early on in our Ghost Begone, ghost busting career. So we didn't really know what we were doing. And we played with a Ouija board trying to communicate with the spirit. And something followed us home. And for, I want to say, a couple of months, my wife was the target of that attack.
Oh,
And what it
no.
did was, yeah, it left her with practically overnight, left her with three very rare forms of cancer: squamous cell carcinoma of the tongue, which also spread and became a rare form of throat cancer; medullary thyroid cancer, which spread into a bunch of lymph nodes into her neck. And she couldn't swallow water for months, couldn't talk for a year,
Look at
had a
that.
feeding tube in for well over a year. She wasn't supposed to make it. And that's what I want people to know, that these things, the kinds of things these things can do to you, because they're very vindictive, very vengeful. They hold grudges for forever. And when you start battling them, unless you know what you're doing, um, these are the types of things that can happen to you. And so it was only extreme divine intervention, me being introduced to my then mentor, who is now retired. She was an ordained exorcist. She taught me how to fight this thing, and I eventually was successful in getting this thing out of our lives. But it came at great cost, and like I said, it was only extreme divine intervention that allowed my wife to still be here with us. But then I too, shortly after that, during an exorcism case, came under an extreme demonic attack. And colleagues of mine do feel that I actually died during that attack. And again, it was only divine intervention that brought me back from death's door, if you will, and
Mhm.
allowed me. And I was so frightened, I left the field of deliverance ministry. My wife was still battling during my attack. My wife wasn't going on cases with me because she's basically at home dying, but I'm still working cases because they kept coming in, and I'm being trained by my mentor on how to be a deliverance minister. So I left the field for quite some time, and then I realized God was calling me back to it. And you really don't say no to God. You just jump in the deep end without the floaties on and go for it.
He knows the plan before you even suspect anything. He knows the outcome before you even scratch your head and say, "What am I going to do?" And he knows the pros and the cons, and he knows that you're going to be successful. He'll
Yeah,
give you the message. You have to do the work.
absolutely.
Yeah. How do you now spiritually and emotionally prepare yourself for a case before confronting the dark forces?
Well, after we've gone through all of the steps, and
Mhm.
usually more times than not, I've lost the people by then. And many times, this is heartbreaking. Many times you've got to know when to say when and when to cut a client loose. If you realize that you're going to do more harm than good, because they're just going to fight you at every step of the way and not give you what you need to allow you to help them. They're not going to help you help them. Sometimes you got to know when to cut them loose. But if they've gone through from point A to point B and all the steps in between,
Mhm.
and you've gone through all the steps and you've gotten permission, and you're going to go there on a particular day and take authority over an exorcism, then you have to do things like fast for a few days, make sure you go to confession, attend mass, receive communion, um, and just try and be as much in a state of grace as you can when you arrive there to do battle, and hope that you're lucky enough to be used as a vessel to allow the Holy Spirit to come through and bring whatever help the Holy Spirit can bring with it to help you do this battle.
I'm very thankful to God that your wife is all right, and that that He was there for you both in your time of need. Because Sean, I've known you a number of years, and I know the great work that you do, and I am thankful that you are there.
Thank you, brother. I love you and respect you, and I appreciate you saying that. And I know you mean it. So thank you very much. And I have to say real quick, I
Yep.
do remember something about being on the show last time. You picked some of the most awesome bumper music ever. I love that.
It's a favorite hobby of mine. But stand by, Exo Nation. Father Sean Whittington is my special guest, and we're going to be wrapping up this hour on the other side of this very short break. Still to come tonight, more Exxon. Can you believe that? 35 years plus, thanks to the members of the Exo Nation and great guests like Father Whittington. I'm Rob McConnell. We'll be back on the other side of this break. Don't go away.
An angel said to me, she's got the devil in her heart. No, this I can't believe. She's gonna tear your heart apart. No, nay, will she deceive. I like the way you smile at me. I felt the heat that enveloped me. And what I saw, I like to see. I never knew where evil grew. I should have steered away from you. My friend told me to keep clear of you. But something drew me near to you. I never knew where evil grew. Evil grows in the dark, where the sun never shines. Evil grows in cracks.
And welcome back, Exo Nation. Father Sean Whittington is our very special guest this hour. And Father Sean, always a great pleasure having you on the show, my friend. And like I said to you off air during the last break, thank you for the great and wonderful work that you do, and all the people that you've helped over the years. They may not have had the opportunity of saying thank you, so I'm saying thank you for them.
Thank you, brother. And don't forget, you're on my prayer list. I pray for you all the time.
Oh, thank you, sir. With the people I deal with, I need all the prayers I can get. And then there's the people I deal with in radios.
Yeah. Yeah.
Two guys sitting at a bar. One guy says to the other guy, he says, "You know what? My mother-in-law is a real angel." The other guy turns around, looks at him, and says, "You're lucky mine's still alive."
No comment.
That's the only angel joke I know, Craig.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, how would you suggest someone who believes that they have gone to a flea market, made a purchase, brought the article home without knowing there's an attachment on it? They bring the article home, strange things start happening. Weird dreams, smells, maybe a little bit of movement, strange sounds. What should they do?
One of two things. If they simply just can't, first of all, be careful buying antiques. To anybody out there that does it, that's a great hobby, but just be very careful. If you have an item that has an attachment to it, if you simply just can't bring it to yourself to part with it, learn how to get it bound. Bind it properly, and then keep it on display in your home. But either learn how to bind it yourself or get somebody like me over there to bind it. But I would have to recommend, even better than that, you're going to have to part ways with it and give it to somebody like me to take it off the premises and then do what we do with it, which is also, again, binding it, but putting it in a safe place. But that whole, that brings a story that just to mention. I had a Hindu client one time. I've had a client of every religious belief system you can imagine. But this one Hindu, his wife collected lamps.
Mhm.
And this is like your classic genie in a lamp story where she
Oh
was
yeah.
cleaning the lamp and he claimed something came out of the lamp and possessed her. And that was a very scary, crazy case. And they referred to that as a jinn, which was there's a lot of disembodied human spirits out there that never were human, and they're not demons. I don't know what conjured them up, but they have no fear of God, and they're about as evil can get. Like the Dybbuk box, whatever's usually inside those. You got to be careful with those spirits because you can't fight them the traditional way, and usually there's usually always deaths attached to those types of malevolent spirits.
Hmm. What about house protection? Like my mother, God rest her soul, was so religious, and believe me, I have nothing against religion. Like I told you, I'm a Christian, but she had my brother and I baptized Roman Catholic and then Anglican. Uh, I remember when it was the Roman Catholic part of our childhood. There were crucifixes, there were Virgin Marys, there was holy water all over the place. Bang! Let's open the door and go into the world of Anglicans. Well,
Yeah.
nothing. You said your prayers at night, and how much does the religious philosophical beliefs of a person have in relationship to any negative paranormal or demonic interaction will they have?
You just have to be careful. I believe, well, I'm going to get hate mail for this too, but this is the reality of it. Catholicism was the religion that Jesus left us.
Yeah.
So I'm not condemning any other religious belief system. Like I said, my wife is a Stephen minister in the Lutheran Church, and I have good friends of every religious walk of life and belief system you can imagine. So
Mhm.
it is what it is.
Sure.
But I find certain trainings and certain theology and certain ways that you're brought up in certain religious belief systems, you just without even thinking about it, you just walk a particular path that
Mhm.
keeps you away from that stuff. I believe some of the other types of religions leave a lot of doors open and windows open, and without even sometimes realizing you've done something to attract the attention of things that you don't want looking at you. They do that, and so that's what I believe as a devout Catholic. Now, I was baptized Roman Catholic, and I'm not Roman Catholic any longer. I'm Old Catholic. We're the same as the Roman Catholics. We're not under Rome's jurisdiction, but they do recognize us because we're validly Catholic because of our apostolic succession. The only difference between Old Catholics and the Romans is we love and respect the Pope as being a great and holy man, but we believe that's exactly what he is, just a man,
What,
that
what
he is fallible.
speaking about the Pope, what do you think about the new Pope?
Oh, I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
first
One, I'm first American. Two,
exactly.
Leo, I
Yeah.
was Catholic school. I went to St. Leo the Great Catholic school in Colts Neck, New Jersey.
Hmm.
So I feel a kinship there. I feel an attachment.
I had a girl on the show many years ago. When we used to do call-ins, and we had an exorcist on, and I really can't remember who the exorcist was, but this young lady was having nightmares during her dream state instead of anything that would happen demonic or negative during her waking hours. Nothing. But as soon as she hit the sleep mode, the dreams started. And some of the stories she was telling, Father Sean, the hair on my arms and the back of the neck stood up. Why would these demons attack when this person is asleep? Like, she was a child. I think she was about 9 or 10 at the time.
Well, we're at our most spiritually, we're at our most vulnerable when we're asleep. So that's why it's easy for them to attack. And anybody out there listening to the show, my wife suffers from night terrors also. You just got to be careful when it starts getting too physical, sexually, or or violent, and they start showing signs of being scratched or bitten, or God forbid, I've worked cases where people have said something's raping me at night, men and women, and they've gone to the doctor and they've been physically, there's been trauma down there in their genitalia area. So when those types of things start happening, you're in trouble and you need to get some help. It's not just night terrors anymore. It's the next level, and something was behind that. But we're mostly, that's why saying you said it earlier in the show. That's why saying prayers when you wake up, during the day, and before you go to bed especially, are very important.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. I've got about 3.5 minutes, Father Sean. Is it possible then, based on the reality of evil, demonic presence, is it possible that what people believe are extraterrestrials are really demons?
Could be. Like I said, I don't have all the answers. I'm dealing with a lot of people that are suffering night terrors, but they're all over the charts. They get visited by these angelic beings that seem very angelic and angel-like, then beings that seem very interdimensional and extraterrestrial-like, and take them off and do remote viewing of other worlds. And then some of these visitations are very violent and very sexual. So that's all over the charts. But it could be, I just recently spoke to an abductee who said that the first thing the aliens asked him was, "Have you seen God yet?" And even in the Vatican now, they have courses for new graduating seminarians on first contact, how to deal with first contact. So I believe powers know that there's other stuff out there.
In fact, the Vatican has one of the best observatories anywhere.
There you go. Yeah.
Again, Father Sean, thank you so much for joining us. In the next minute, what message would you like to share with the X-Zone Nation tonight?
If you liked this interview and you feel and you love me, and I love each and every one of you and everybody within the sound of my voice, God bless you in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit. Go to my website. Hit the donate button. Send my ministry in a small donation. We don't charge for our work, so the money, trust me, we put it to good use. But my books are there. If you purchase my books off the website, I autograph them. I put them in a house blessing kit, ship them to you. And part of the proceeds of every sale of every copy of my books goes to help St. Jude and the ASPCA. And my online course is there if you're interested in that. And and watch my new show, Eli Roth Presents The Legion of Exorcists, which premiered on Travel Channel and now currently streaming everywhere. And if you like that show, contact Travel Channel. Tell them to green light a season 2. They haven't canceled it yet, but it's been a little over a year, and they haven't greenlit it for a season 2 yet. I could use the work.
Well, we'll certainly do our best, my friend. So to you and yours, thank you very much for joining us. Continued success. Continue the hard work that you're doing for the Lord, because he needs as many soldiers as he can get these days.
Thank you, brother. I love you.
Yeah, I love you too. Take care of yourself, Father Sean, and regards to your wife and your family. Blessings to you all.
Take care, brother. Good night, everyone.
All right, Exonation, that was our very special guest of this hour, Father Sean Whittington. And if you'd like to get more information about Father Sean, visit his website. And I'm just going to get it right here. Here it is. Thanks, Craig. Ghost-b-gone.biz. If you're someone you know is experiencing unexplained disturbances or spiritual obsession, that's should be oppression, not obsession. Well, I guess you can have them both. You can learn more about it at Father Sean's ministry. His work reminds us that faith, discernment, and courage are powerful tools in confronting the darkest corners of existence. I'm Rob McConnell. This is the X Zone. We'll be back on the other side of the short break as hour number 2 commences right here. After all, we're being brought to you around the world on the Talkstar Radio Network, Mutual Broadcast Network, X Zone Broadcast Network, and your hometown radio, Classic 1220 CFAJ in Ontario, Canada, that broadcast our show Monday through Friday from 10 p.m. until midnight, right across the province of Ontario, the northern tiers of the states of New York and New Jersey. And no, not New Jersey, Pennsylvania. That's the other affiliate. But you know what? They stream us on classic1220.ca. I'll be back. Don't go away.